There are places in this world that never forget. Some keep their secrets in stone, others in water. But there is one that keeps them in wood, in bark, in roots. I am speaking of a tree, old, twisted, and patient. It does not grow in any map-marked place. You do not find it unless it allows you to. To most eyes, it looks ordinary, just another oak in a forgotten clearing. But stand close long enough, and you will feel it. An unease, as though the air thickens, as though the shadows bend a little too far. Its bark is dark, its branches heavy. It has stood longer than any living memory. And it has seen more than any human could bear. The tree remembers, not as we do, with fading details and blurred faces, but perfectly. Every cry, every last breath, every silence that follows a death near its roots, they do not vanish, they remain. And if you are careless enough to touch the bark, it will let you share in that remembering. One of the oldest memories it carries is of a man hanged from its limb. His crime is forgotten, if there ever was one. The mob shouted, the rope tightened, and his body swung while the tree absorbed his last desperate gasp. That breath lingers there still. Some say, if the wind is just right, you can hear the rope creak in branches that no longer hold it. Later came war. Men fell in dozens across that clearing, their blood darkening the roots. The cries of the wounded, the silence of the dead, all of it sank deep into the wood. The bark carries those echoes like scars. The tree does not mourn, it only keeps. It is a witness without mercy, without forgetting. I have stood before it, and I have felt what it carries. The memories press against you, heavy as stone. Not all at once, never all at once, but enough to remind you that the tree has more to tell than you could survive hearing. And once it has shared with you, the voices do not leave. They take root, quietly, and wait. I told myself I would not return, but memory is a strong chain, theirs and mine. In dreams, I found myself there again, hands pressed into the soil, dirt beneath my nails when I woke. The tree does not forget, and now, I think, it does not allow me to either.
In time, I went back. Whether it was my choice or not is difficult to say. Some things do not need to summon you loudly. A whisper is enough. And so I stood again in the clearing, before that dark trunk, its silence heavy as a closed tomb. The tree showed me a fire, not from torches or war, but from steel and gasoline. A family trapped in a wreck, their cries swallowed by the flames, the smell of burning rubber, the sting of smoke. It is all there, stored perfectly. Their last words do not fade. They rest in the roots, replayed for anyone the tree chooses to share them with. There was also a child, a small shoe left in the soil, half buried with time. The sound of her voice, thin, searching, still lingers in the air. She called once, and then never again. The ground closed over her. The tree closed over the sound, and it is still there, waiting for someone to hear. Understand this, the tree does not hunt, it does not chase, It does not need to. Sorrow comes on its own. Death finds its way there as surely as rivers find the sea. And each time, the tree gathers what is left, the pain, the breath, the silence, and weaves it into itself. I once felt my own hands digging into the roots, though I had not willed them to. It was as if the tree wanted me closer, deeper, as if the line between witness and memory was thinner than I had believed. Perhaps one day I will not stand apart from its stories. Perhaps I will be one of them. Even now I notice changes, a shadow too long in the sun, roots in dreams that were not there before. The tree does not rush. It has all the time in the world, and it remembers. More than I do, more than you ever should. So if you ever find yourself walking in a forest, and the air turns heavy, and the silence grows deep, turn back. Because if you do not, the tree will remember you, and it may choose never to let you go.
I returned once more, though not by choice. Some things in this world do not call. They merely wait, patient and unhurried. The tree stood as always, immense and silent, its bark darkened by centuries. And yet I felt it differently this time. A subtle tug, as if unseen roots reached toward my mind, brushing against the corners of my memories. Faces I had thought forgotten floated briefly before fading, leaving a strange hollowness. I realized then that the tree did not only remember the dead, it could, quietly, claim the living. I touched the bark, fingertips brushing the rough surface. Instantly, I saw the moments of others, their joys, their fears, the minute details of their ordinary days. The tree absorbed them all, without judgment, without preference. A child's laughter mingled with a mother's sorrow, a lover's whispered promise drifting beside the silence of a soldier long gone. And then I understood. The tree did not need to act. Life, death, memory, they came willingly, or they were drawn in, just as I was being drawn. I touched the bark, fingertips brushing the rough surface. Instantly, I saw the moments of others, their joys, their fears, the minute details of their ordinary days. The tree absorbed them all, without judgment, without preference. A child's laughter mingled with a mother's sorrow, a lover's whispered promise drifting beside the silence of a soldier long gone. And then I understood. The tree did not need to act. Life, death, memory, they came willingly, or they were drawn in, just as I was being drawn. I touched the bark, fingertips brushing the rough surface. Instantly, I saw the moments of others, their joys, their fears, the minute details of their ordinary days. The tree absorbed them all, without judgment, without preference. A child's laughter mingled with a mother's sorrow, a lover's whispered promise drifting beside the silence of a soldier long gone. And then I understood. The tree did not need to act. Life, death, memory, they came willingly, or they were drawn in, just as I was being drawn. Time seemed different here, past and present intertwined, a slow river bending upon itself. The tree did not distinguish between centuries. A scream from 100 years ago echoed as clearly as a sigh from yesterday. I felt insignificant, yet strangely whole, part of this vast ledger of moments. There was no cruelty, no kindness. It simply was. All memory mattered equally. Every breath, every glance, every heartbeat had a place within the wood. And I began to wonder if this, more than anything else, was what the tree truly sought. Not the dead, not the living, but the constant flow of existence itself. Standing there, I felt the weight of the tree's collection settle into me. My memories intertwined with those it already held. The fear, the laughter, the lost chances. It was not forced. It was subtle, insistent, like a tide reshaping the shore. And yet there was a strange clarity in it, a quiet understanding that what I gave was not lost, but preserved. Every life, every memory, every fragment became part of a story larger than any single person could carry alone. I stepped back and let go. The tree remained, immense and patient, its silence vast as the night sky. I would leave changed, my own past no longer solely mine. And yet, in that surrender, there was peace. The tree did not punish, did not reward. It simply kept what it could, endlessly and without judgment. In the end, that was all it needed to be. I walked away from the clearing, knowing that the tree would remember me, as it had remembered countless others, and perhaps, in some way, I would carry it within me as well. Time would pass, faces would fade, but the tree would stand, patient and unmoving, the quiet custodian of all that once lived and all that still might.